Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today is a little project pan update, and this is quite literally the most exciting update I've had pretty much all year. I finished a couple of products. I'm really close to finishing up another one, and so I'm going to be rolling in some new products. I'm just really excited. So if you're new here, hi, my name is Vivian. I'm a robotics engineer with a love for all things beauty and makeup related, and I'd love it if you liked and subscribed if you aren't already. And with that being said, let's just hop into it because I'm so excited. If you guys are new here, I like to start with the products that are kind of boring, don't show a lot of progress. And so the first thing I want to talk about is my NYX lip liner in the shade Soft Spoken. I think I sharpened this twice throughout the last month. It's still pretty sharp right now, but I still think it's a great lip liner. I love the formula. I like this shade a lot. I feel like it just blends into my lip really easily. You can see that I've made a little bit of progress with it with the sharpening, so I'm just gonna keep chugging along. I foresee myself finishing this probably early-ish next year. I want to say like spring next year, just based on how much progress I've made this year or this past month. So yeah, we're gonna keep working on this. We're gonna keep chugging along. I have high hopes that we're gonna finish it though, and that I'm not gonna get bored of it. The next item I want to talk about is my Kosas Brow Pop. So this has been in my project for a while now. I still feel like I'm making decent progress on it. I still use it every time I do my makeup, every time I do my eyebrows. Yeah, it's coming along. I think maybe like 2 more months, maybe 3 more months, this will be out of the project. So I'm hoping by the end of the year this will be out. But for now, I'm going to keep working on it. It's what I have in my brows today. I really don't think that there's much to talk about with this. I think it's just going to take me a little bit longer to work my way through it. I'm going to put like a little asterisk by that, which kind of means like I'm lying, because I thought that I would finish my previous brow pencil in my project pan a lot quicker than I did. So I'm going to give myself a little leeway there and say like end of this year, beginning of next year. But hopefully with the progress that I've been making, I think I can finish it at the end of this year, so stay tuned for that. The next item I want to talk about is my Rare Beauty. The next thing I want to talk about is my Rare Beauty blush in the shade Joy. I feel like I'm getting really, really close to the end. I still can't see through the packaging, but each time I pull up the stopper, there's less and less product on it. To me, that feels like I'm almost there, but this is kind of cheating a little bit, but I've done that with a couple different products that are in my project pan. I think I'm going to give this 1 more month. I take that back. I am going to give myself until I get back from my trip to Australia and Vietnam. So I'm going to give myself until the end of October to finish this, and if I don't finish it by October, then I'm going to just call it done if I haven't finished it already. But I'm telling you guys, I feel so close to finishing it. I have no plans to take out the stopper and like scrape the sides. I feel like this has been in my project long enough and I don't really want to like prolong that, but I think the end of October is a good goal, especially because when I'll be in Australia and Vietnam, I'm not planning on having my whole collection with me, and so it'll really just force me to like finish it. I hope that I'll be able to finish it by then, but I still feel like I'm making good progress with it, especially because I have been using it like every time I do my makeup. In terms of the number of uses, I've used it 33 times total, which is an increase of 13 times, I believe. I think the last update I said I had only used it 20 times total, so I will double check. But 33 times is about what I was expecting. I don't wear makeup like every day, and the days that I do wear makeup, I have been using this, so that makes sense to me. I feel really close to finishing this. I'm really excited. The more that I use it, the more that I can tell that it's like drying up or just not picking up a lot of product anymore, and because of that, it's like motivating me to continue using it and finishing it. Hopefully by the end of October this will be done. I hope that I'll finish it before then though, because I've been working on this for, I want to say like a year now. It's been insane. And so the last 4 products are all completed with a little asterisk again. There are a couple products where I didn't like fully complete them, but I'm so close to being done with them that I think it'll only take like 2 more uses for them to be fully empty. And so I'm going to count them empty just so I can start rolling in a new product and kind of starting to work on that new product. So the first thing I want to talk about is my NYX Bare With Me Concealer Serum. I don't know what happened, but this past month I used so much of this, way more than I have in the previous months. I want to say like double the amount, but I don't think I've used double the amount out of it. So maybe there was like an air bubble or something in it. I don't know. Anyway, this is so close to being done. I have maybe like 2 or 3 uses out of this left, and I figured that I could finish this and then start working on the product that I'm gonna roll in, since there is almost like no point in holding on to it for a whole month just to say that like I finished it at the beginning of the month. So I'm super close to this. I'm so happy that I have pretty much finished this. It is so satisfying to look at the tube and see how empty it is and see how much product I've had in here. So it's been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm gonna say about 8.5 months of me working on this, which seems like a really long time. I did not think I was working on this for that long, but apparently that's what it's been. So I'm really excited. I'm so glad that this is almost done with, and it's definitely going to be done within the next couple days, but technically there's still like a tiny bit of product left. And kind of in the same vein, but not really, because this one I've been saying for a while now that I was going to give it 1 more month and take it out of my project pan, and that's what I'm going to do. I do truly feel like I've used up most of this. I have to squeeze really hard to get any product out. I'm not going to cut it open. I'm not going to try and use like every last drop, just because again, it's not my favorite primer. I have a lot of primers in my collection that I want to make sure that I'm getting use out of. And so to me, it just doesn't seem worth it to like fully try to use up every last drop. But in my book, I've used this up enough where I feel comfortable just calling it an empty and feel comfortable throwing it out, basically. So that is being rolled out. It's been a long time. I feel like I've also had this in my project pan for about like 8 months. I stopped tailing this a long time ago because I just wasn't seeing a lot of progress. But it's finally happened. It's been forever. It finally happened. I am so excited about this. And the next 2 items are pans. I'm so excited about these 2. This last month has just been really good in terms of my project panning. It was also my birth month, so maybe that's something to do with it. It's finally Leo season, so this is my time to shine. The e.l.f. Putty Bronzer, I did indeed hit pan on that. Look at that. I was saying for a really long time how I felt like I was super close because the little bottom of this dome was starting to flatten out, and to me that meant that I was going to hit pan soon, and I finally did. So I'm glad that I finally hit pan. I am going to roll this out. I am going to roll in a powder bronzer this time, just because I find myself having a lot of cream bronzers and I haven't been using like any of them, and so I want to make sure that I am like switching through them, because a lot of them are also cream but also clean beauty brands, and so I just want to make sure that I am getting use out of them. I'm going to start putting a cream bronzer in my Shop My Stash instead of a powder bronzer, since the powder bronzer will be in my project pan. That was kind of an overcomplication. Basically, I hit pan. We are rolling this out, and I will be rolling in another bronzer. It'll just be a powder bronzer instead. And last but not least, this was a surprise pan to me. I hit pan in my LYS Triple Fix Translucent Setting Powder in the shade Resilience Translucent. This was a huge shock to me. I expected this powder to take up like a couple more months, just because I know powders can take a really long time to use up. This one doesn't have a lot of kickback either, so I just was expecting it to take a lot longer than it did. But I hit pan, and then it started expanding really quickly. So I think I hit pan towards like the middle early middle of the month, so I want to say like after that first week of July I hit pan. I've been using it throughout the month just to see how much progress I could make, and I've expanded the pan to this size. So I'm so excited about that. I was not expecting that whatsoever. When I first hit pan, I was like, oh my god, like is that really pan? I was like holding up to the light. I finally hit pan. I'm super excited. I am gonna roll in another powder to replace this one. But yeah, I just cannot believe I hit pan on this powder so quickly. I love this powder. I was using it as like my under eye powder. I was also using it as my all over the face powder. So really happy about that. I think that is great progress. Okay, so now for the products that I'm going to be rolling in. So that's 3 finished products, but I'm going to be rolling in a little bit more than 3 just because I feel like with the concealer I'm almost there, so I'm going to be rolling in something to replace that even though the concealer isn't necessarily empty yet. And then I wanted to add one more item just to get more variety in there, and I feel like I could finish this item pretty quickly. It's a category of my collection where I feel like I have way more than I need, and so I just think I could work on minimizing that a little bit, and that's pretty much what this whole project is about anyway. So enough of me rambling, let's start talking about it. The first thing I'm gonna roll in is this primer. This is from Milk Makeup. This is the Pore Eclipse Mattifying Primer. I like this enough. This is a mattifying primer, but the texture is quite different than most primers you would expect. So it comes out as a cream and it blends out more like a lotion, whereas the Maybelline Master Prime was clear and it was very much like a silicone-y feeling primer. This one doesn't feel as silicone-y, but I do like this. It has a scent to it. It kind of smells essential oily. I am not entirely sure what is in this that is giving that smell, but I feel like I could finish this pretty quickly. Tracking it is going to be a little bit more difficult just because the tube is like pretty dark and not see-through, but I think I could start squeezing it and I don't know, maybe marking like where the squeeze ends. Does that even make sense? I'll figure out a way to track this though. I do like this primer. I haven't used it in a while, so I want to make sure that I'm getting use out of it. And again, Milk Makeup is a clean beauty brand, so I just want to try and get some use out of this before it goes bad. And even now, I feel like I'm already a decent amount of way through it. I feel like that's like about half the tube already, maybe like a third of the tube already. So I don't foresee this taking an insane amount of time, but gonna keep working on it. I will figure out a way to track it. I will also probably create like a counter in my counter app to track the number of times I've used it as well. To replace the concealer, I'm gonna put in my Merit the Minimalist collection stick. I have mine in the shade Sand. This is not attached to the under packaging, which is slightly annoying, but I don't know. Again, Merit is a clean beauty brand. I have a feeling that it's gonna take me a while to finish this, and I've dropped this a couple times where I feel like I just want to make sure that it's not like super unsanitary and just like keep getting usage out of that. So I'm hoping that with consistent usage, I'll finish this in about like 6 months. I think that's reasonable. I think I could make this work for sure, especially if I use it as a concealer or all over the face as a foundation. It works really well as both, and the shade works really well for me too, especially when I am like a little bit darker. But this is also pretty light coverage. Not light coverage, but it's light enough coverage where I can get away with it if I am a little bit more pale. To replace the powder that I finished up, I am gonna put in my Rare Beauty powder. This is the setting powder in the shade Light Medium. So I put a little X to signify where I like laid the product down to see the line. And if you shake all the product, I'm trying to do this in a way that like doesn't. Okay. So if you pretty much shake the product or tap it down, I would say that's pretty much where the line is. That's about where the product is now. I would say that's like half the container, but I really haven't used this that much, so I don't think it's half of the amount of times that I've used this. But I have a lot of loose powders in my collection. I want to get through them. I do like this a lot. I think it's a great powder. So yeah, working on this. I hope that I'll be able to finish this 6 months. I feel it in my soul that it's gonna take longer than 6 months, but I'm hoping I can finish this in 6 months, especially right now, I am an oily gal. I feel like I do need a lot of powder just to mattify and set everything. To replace the bronzer, I said that I was going to put in a powder bronzer, and the bronzer that I'm going to put in is my Nabla Skin Bronzing in the shade Soft Revenge. My goal is to hit pan on this. This is a really nice bronzer. I like the tone of this a lot because it's not super warm tone. I find that a lot of bronzers that are warm tone can look orange on me, and with my olive skin tone, I'm just not a huge fan of that. I much prefer these like neutral, cool leaning bronzers. I really like this formula. This is a baked formula. I think I've made a decent start by kind of rubbing away the indentation of the Nabla logo on it. So it's already starting to smooth out, but hopefully within the next like 6 months I can hit pan on it. I am not planning on doing anything drastic. This is a baked formula. There's not a lot of kick up, and so I find that it just is really easy to apply and you can never really go overboard with it. And again, like I said when I was talking about the e.l.f. Putty bronzer, I wanted to put a powder bronzer in my project pan so that I could focus on cream bronzers in my shop, my stash. I just find that I have more cream bronzers than powder bronzers, and so I just want to make sure that I'm getting usage out of all of the ones that I have in my collection, and putting cream bronzers in my shop, my stash is a good way for me to be able to track that and be able to just kind of force myself to use more of the bronzers in my collection. So that is the option for the powder bronzer. And then lastly, I am gonna put in a highlighter. The one that I'm putting in is this one from Lilah B. This is the Divine Duo Lip and Cheek in the shade Bedazzling. So Lilah B is no longer a brand anymore. I personally feel like I have a lot of highlighters in my collection and I'm not a huge highlighter person anymore, so I want to just take the step to try and finish up a highlighter that I think I could finish relatively easily. I haven't had this for that long. I think I only put it in my shop, my stash like once, and so this is about a month of like actual usage, and even with that 1 month I already feel like I am starting to see pan at the bottom. My goal for this highlighter is going to be to use it completely up. I have high hopes that I can do this. I'm not sure I'll be able to finish it up by the end of the year or even 6 months. I think it'll take me a little bit longer, but I do want to fully finish this up and get rid of one of the highlighters in my collection just because I have so many. And through that, I don't know, I like this highlighter. I think it's a nice highlighter. I like the texture of it. It's a little bit of a thicker formula, but it blends out into this really pretty sheen. Like, I definitely don't think that it's overly shiny. I think there are like a little bit of glitter particles in there. I think that is something that you are going to be able to see. Honestly, I just want to make sure that I'm getting usage out of this, and I think this is one that I could finish really quickly. Really quickly is relative. I think that I can finish this one the quickest in my collection of highlighters. That is everything for today's Project Pan update. I am so glad that I am able to roll out 4 different products in my shop, in my Project Pan today. That is more than half of the products that I had in my Project Pan in general. So yeah, I'm really excited. I am excited to throw this away finally. I feel happy with the amount of usage I've had of this throughout the last couple months. This one, I was shocked to see how much of this I actually used this month. I think part of the reason why I used this up so quickly this month was because I was wearing it as a foundation. I was mixing a little bit of a glow booster in with like maybe a pump and a half of the NYX Bare With Me Concealer Serum, and I think that just I don't know, worked really well. That's what I did for my foundation today. So my base is really just concealer and a little bit of a glowy primer. But yeah, I'm so excited that I'm almost done with this. I truly feel like this will have like 2 to 3 more uses and that'll be pretty much it. So really happy about that. Really, honestly, just really surprised and excited to get this out of my collection very soon. And in terms of the pans that I hit, I was expecting to hit pan on the e.l.f. Putty Bronzer pretty soon. From my last Project Pan update, I've been saying that I felt really close to hitting pan because of the shape of it and the way that the bottom of this concave part was flattening out. So I'm glad I hit pan on this. I am glad to put it back in my collection for a little bit, and I was genuinely surprised by this pan. I'm not mad about it whatsoever. I'm glad I was able to hit pan on this so quickly, and it gives me an opportunity to try and work any different powder and use up that other powder a lot more. That is everything. I hope you guys enjoyed today's update. This was honestly the most exciting update I've had in a really long time, so this just gives me a lot of joy. It makes me way more passionate about project panning, and it motivates me a lot to see products that I have been using for a while either get used up and reach my goal on them, or just seeing pan. It's just really satisfying to me, and I really want to make sure that I'm getting a lot of good usage out of all the products in my collections. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, be sure to like and subscribe if you aren't already, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye guys!